First of all, I would like to appreciate all the participants who have joined this webinar. There's only one reason for that. The fact that you have chosen this webinar, even after carefully reading the topic for today, already makes you different from the regular mindset, because this is not a regular topic. It's not a particular point of law which we are going to discuss. It's about lamps of advocacy. So, first of all, I would like to show this band of ours. This is what we get when we get ourselves enrolled with the bar council of any particular state. So this band comes with a lot of responsibility. It's not just a regular band. You have to serve the society when you've done this band. So why this topic, why the lamps of advocacy is important for a lawyer to succeed in this profession? That is what we are going to discuss today. You must have heard big names such as Mr. Siddharth Luthra, Mr. Kapil Sibal. These are some big names in our profession who is they are known by every one of us. There is very small reason for that, and if we follow that formula, that the principles that is being followed by them, nothing can stop us from achieving whatever we want to achieve in this profession. So these basic formulas, as stated by Justice Edward Abbott Perry, is termed as the lamps of advocacy. Now I'll come to the first lamp of advocacy, that is honesty. Honesty is the official policy we must understand. Honesty with the client, honesty with the opposite party, honesty with the judge, with the court itself. It's the core formula to succeed in our field. You have to be very transparent. How honesty with client helps? See, the client has approached you in order to get relief. For that, the client would be paying you money, your professional charges, right? So you have to be honest with the client as to how you are going to proceed with the case, as to how and when certain applications have to be moved, and what do we do when some application, some situation, or any kind of new delayed techniques have been used by the opposite party. What will we do in that situation? That is how we deal our clients with honesty. Second, the what happens in our field, I have received a number of complaints from the clients that we were told that the court fee, when you file a case, there are certain court fees. So the court fee is already prescribed in the schedule itself, but multiple complaints by the client that they have been charged more than what was the court fee quoted in the schedule. So what happens in this case? You lose your client. The client is judging you from the very beginning. You must get that. That is why honesty with client plays an important role in this profession. Second is honesty with opposite party and the court. You must state very true statements and laws before the court. Any false statement will go otherwise. Will not only create a negative impact on your profession in the eyes of the judge, but also in the eyes of the client. You lose that client if you are not honest enough. All right. So this is the first lamp of advocacy. Now moving on to the second lamp of advocacy, which would be courage. So this is I personally consider this to be the most important lamps of advocacy. Why do I say this? I would say I am appearing before you all. I am addressing on this topic. That has been possible only because of one reason: courage. I may make mistakes in this webinar, but that is not going to stop me from attending another webinars. That is the mindset that you need to follow. And when you appear before the court of law, you need to be courageous enough to put facts, to put law, to put judgments before the court, so that you could persuade the judge in order to get relief for your client. And I'll demonstrate you I'll tell you the live example, the in court experience. What happens? There are lawyers who are less experienced. There are lawyers who are more experienced than you. The more experienced ones, they will come heavy on you. They have seen that you are a newbie. They have seen that this is the right opportunity to suppress you, and they are not suppressing you. They are suppressing the rights of your client. So you have to be courageous enough to confront those situations. If you are not fearless in that situation, You'll lose everything then and there only, because your part has not been told. You have not given justice to your client. That is why courage is important. Be fearless. And I would say courage is not only important for this profession. In life also, you need to be courageous enough. In every step, you'll get new things, some uncomfortable situations, but that has to be dealt with courage. All right. So that is why courage is my most favorite lamps of advocacy. Now, the third one I have already explained you, industry. Keep yourself well informed about the law, not only today, but tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Subscribe to live law channels. All right, bar and bench, live laws, everything is there. Keep yourself informed. Whenever you're sitting in court, the notification pops up. Forget Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedIn you can consider, I'm sorry. But Facebook, Instagram, forget it. Keep on scrolling those judgments. It will help you a lot. And I'll tell you one thing. What happened? One time I was appearing before Delhi High Court. My matter was in queue. I was sitting there. I received notifications. I was receiving notifications on my live law. I was going through the judgments that were delivered that day. Some senior lawyer, I don't know the name of that lawyer, some senior lawyer of Delhi High Court, he started looking at my phone. He really appreciated the fact that instead of toggling on Instagram or Facebook or any social media platform, I was going through the judgments. So these all things matter. All right. So industry means keeping yourself well informed about the law. Okay. Now moving on with the fourth lamp of advocacy, that is wit. Now wit does not mean that uh, you have read a joke and you have made everyone laugh. That's not the kind of humor that we're talking about here. Wit is very important in our profession because it's our profession is a very high pressure job. All right. So in order to lessen your burden, mental burden, you need to have wit. Wit, people are stating that wit is cleverness to deal hard situations, right? Correct. Very true. Exactly. That is why wit is one of the lamps of advocacy, because it's a high pressure job. You need to be calm and composed. And wit, see, when you are well informed, you are courageous enough, you are honest with the judge, wit comes automatically. All right. With intellect comes wit. Sometimes what will happen, if you have good sense of humor, a, a legit sense of humor, the judges will interact with you in that way only, and that impacts your case positively. That is how it happens. All right. So wit has played a very vital role in our profession. Um, some banters between the judges, light banters between the judges and the lawyers. We keep on seeing them on LinkedIn. The video pops up. There has been a light banter between two lawyers, a light banter between the judges. So it's there. Wit is there. It's very much important. All right. Now moving on to the fifth lamp of advocacy. It's a serious one. It's called eloquence. All right. So how you approach with your words, with your gesture, at what point of time you take a pause, what are the right set of words that are to be used in order to persuade the court to get the order in your favor, is what we call eloquence. You have to be very articulate in our profession. You have to be very precise and articulate at the same time. You have to choose effective words before the court. Not only before the court, this skill helps you get more clients also. When a client sees your confidence, the way you talk, the way you approach towards a case, they gain a sense of confidence. They see you. They're watching you every now and then. Don't be mistaken. The client is watching you every now and then. You are being judged by the client every now and then. So eloquence plays a very important role. How you proceed with the case, how you act before the court, how you stand, how you show your uh, talent of skill, the fluency, how you show your fluency. Choosing the right set of words will matter a lot. Okay. So that is why eloquence is very important. Eloquence can be achieved. So to the people who lack that part, some people are born with it. Some people develop it over a course of period. Talk yourself, talk to yourself in front of the mirror. That will help a lot. Okay. whatever language, local language. Multiple states have different languages. All right. As per that, how you will address the court the next day, you should practice it before the mirror. Okay. So that is the fifth lamp of advocacy. Now coming to the sixth lamp of advocacy, that is judgment. Judgment is the ability to assess and understand a particular topic, right, like Pritesh said, but to form a confirmed opinion about a particular case. Whenever a client hands you a case, you have to do due diligence before approaching to the court. You have to prepare with that, be well prepared with that case, and form a considered opinion of that case before you approach to the court. What is to be done in this case? How do you proceed with this case? That is what judgment is. Okay, so judgment is very, very important. Without judgment, you are going nowhere. If you have to proceed in right direction, you'll go on left direction. So that is why judgment is important. In one of the cases, I was appearing for the tenant. So in that case, there was a case of eviction. All right. So I was appearing for the tenant, and it was under Delhi Rent Control Act. So in that case, three things are required to be proved: relationship of landlord and tenant, whether the requirement is bona fide or not, whether there is suitable alternate accommodation available to the landlord or not. Okay. So these three things are required for eviction under one of the provisions of Delhi Rent Control Act. Okay. So in that case, there was a dispute with regard to the ownership. Okay. So I studied that case before approaching to the court. I prepared my arguments, my case on that particular issue. And ultimately, I won that case because the relationship between landlord or tenant did not exist. Okay. So that is how you proceed towards a case. You prepare yourself before approaching the court. You prepare with the law, with the facts, with the judgments. Everything has to be prepared at the earliest. Okay. So that is why judgment is important. Now coming to the next lamp of advocacy, and that would be the last lamps of advocacy introduced by Justice Edward Abbott Parry. That's called fellowship. We have to understand that in the court of law, I am fighting for the client. The opposite party is also, the opposite counsel is also fighting for a client. There is no personal grudge against each other. All right. Whenever you leave the court premises, you should respect the opposite counsels. All right. So that is why fellowship is very important in our profession. Just like cricket, India-Pakistan match we play, we get on each other, but at the end of the match, we do shake hands, right? So that is why fellowship is important. Now, these were the 7 lamps of advocacy which were introduced by Justice Edward Abbott Parry. Now, Justice V. Krishnaswamy Iyer added one more lamp to this concept, all right, which is called tact, which was answered initially by multiple participants. So tact is what tact is. It's basically to comprehend a messy situation and act at the earliest in order to avoid conflict. Okay. So many a times what happens in court, suppose a case has been pending for a long time. The litigant, the client gets frustrated before the judge himself. All right. He starts to, argue before the judge also. He starts to, oppose the opposite counsel only. All right. So these are not good things. When you have hired a lawyer should proceed with the case. A lawyer must be the guy to appear to advance the arguments before the court. A lawyer is the only one who will defend your case, who will oppose the opposite side. You cannot do so. All right. So this is one of the parts of tax. To avoid messy situation, you must be able to avoid that, comprehend that situation and act on it to prevent from happening. All right. So this is one part of the tact. The other one would be, like said by Ariba, good strategies. Yes, you have to make a good strategy. How the judge will be convinced. Okay, how will you present the case before the judge so that he is easily convinced? How the opposite counsel is, basically you make them numb. That is what you do. That is how you win cases. In 90% of the cases, there is no answer from the opposite parties. That is how you win the case. Okay, so tact is important to handle in court exposures. All right. So these are the 8 clamps of advocacy that we have discussed.